Let's make a story first.
Yeah,
and
sure.
The Chinese influence is certainly there, folks, over CNN. Remember that clip? They said communism's good for women. So let's roll this clip. This is Limbaugh, the ditto head cult cult leader.
Classical pianist.
An Asian American lawmaker wants an apology after controversial talk show host Rush Limbaugh mocked the Chinese language. Limbaugh imitated Chinese President Hu Jintao
this is not good for us.
from a press conference.
Yeah, this is we don't want talk show hosts.
Nobody was translating.
California State Senator Leland Yee is calling on Limbaugh to apologize, saying his actions were, quote, extremely hurtful to the Chinese community. Senator Yee is also suggesting they could be extremely dangerous. Yee received a racist death threat from a disgruntled Limbaugh fan after Yee launched an online petition to rally against companies that advertise on Limbaugh's radio show.
And there are many other ethnically diverse elected officials throughout this country that these threats and these epithets that are being spewed out is a sad reminder that we still have a long ways to go.
During his radio show, Limbaugh stood behind his imitation, saying he was simply reporting what was being said at the press conference.
It's not hard to translate these people. It's, we will bury you. We will bury you. I mean, I could have done that. But I wanted to go the extra mile as a service to the audience. They weren't translating it. I was just trying to report to you what was being said. Yeehaw!
Senator Yee has rallied many civil rights groups in a boycott of Limbaugh's
make it worse.
Like
How can we make this?
But media questions the backlash.
Are we going to be hearing Bruce Lee?
Does that mean no stand-up actor
Next,
or TV and radio host can ever imitate another language? Another interesting question is to ask why imitating Chinese sounds so much worse than, say, babbling a bunch of bonjours and s'il vous plaît and calling yourself French. According to
let's go ahead and pause it, Bill.
And of course, the epitome or the cliche, reggae man. People do a lot of bold.
It's like, okay, so he does it, but the media goes and like they played on the loop, and then China picks up on it, and it's like, how can this be used potentially to curtail free speech? And then where do you draw the line? Okay, so are we going to start are we going to start banning all forms of speech that criticize certain groups? Or are we going to start criticizing others that are making fun of, I don't know, say towelheads and people out there that are real callous and very ignorant and naive, like a 3-year-old or less. Wouldn't want to compare a dumb militant racist to a 3-year-old. I think that would be wrong. That would be wrong. It would be horrible to put them in the same category, but still childish in their own way. And comedy, here's a skit idea. So, I mean, you all know about Forever 21, the older, aging 40-year-old, 50-year-old who's going to Forever 21 to still look 15, 16, 17. Okay, how about we have a new line of shirts, Forever 12, for all like the guys out there. Maybe their girlfriends say, come on, honey, let's go out to dinner. In a minute, Mom. Something like, Forever 12, watching UFC.
I gotta play Call of Duty, man.
Playing Black Ops. I just don't like the games now.
Definitely.
Like China's invading and we're invading China and Russia's invading. It's World War III. Just programming.
Sim City and
Sin City, beating up prostitutes and hookers and just, that's fun. That's what we do with our spare time. This is the cutting edge, folks, of human evolution. Cutting edge.
If people would have told us what was going on, 50, 40 years ago, I bet a lot of people would have told you exactly.
Spiritual principles. I am grateful for everything in my life. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for this facility. I'm grateful for the gifts that I have. Grateful for the talents I have. Grateful for the future that I'm going to have. I don't confuse that with, God, this country is great. Woo! I mean, Walmart, McDonald's, Taco Bell. I mean, we are it. We are the shiza. How do they say? Shizness. I don't keep up with the modern. This is cool to say. But yeah, we are just the it. And we're not. Folks, the fecal matter reeks out of the sewers of Portland. Your fecal matter, mine, it stinks. We gotta, change things up a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely it's got to be a wake up call to
just a little bit
to our whole citizenry. I mean, we the people have to realize that we the people are supposed to be in control of this.
Yeah, it's normal for us to talk about these things. It's weird for me to go out in the streets, folks, and have people kind of look at me. That's that guy from TV. That's him. That guy was telling us that stuff. We are stupid because we support the system. What a jerk off. You know? Or some people just stare like, oh. You're just like, you know, take a picture, lasts longer. It's just they want me to do a Pesci.
Yeah, honestly.
Or no, a De Niro. You're looking at me?
Yeah.
You're looking at me like you don't like a one.
Are you looking at me? Yeah, it's honestly
crazy.
Whenever I talk to people, first thing I start asking after if they have a dead look on their faces is what kind of toothpaste are you using, because you might want to check to find that fluoride.
What? No, there's no fluoride in the water, but I mean sometimes.
Oh, there's plenty of it in your toothpaste.
I'll tell people that the store is at 72nd and Gleason. It's at 72nd and Gleason, 72nd and Gleason. And they're like, where is it? Where's Gleason? They're like, they're from Portland. I'm like, where's Gleason? I'm like, have you ever thought of Google it? They're like, you're being a jerk saying Google. I'm like, no, have you ever thought just to look it up? Or I've come across some people because my website's down. They're like, oh, Alex, sorry, you don't do your show anymore. I never catch you on Access TV. I'm like, you ever think of going on the internet and searching for this?
YouTube's, you know,
I try to have patience.
Yeah, patience.
And I try to get all worked up, but I do. But I mean, sometimes I'm just like, what is wrong with you? I don't know how some people, when they're walking down the street, they don't fall through a pothole or fall through a, you know, when they're doing construction, looking at the text messaging.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that lady, I don't know if that was a complete hoax or not, but the lady who walked right into the fountain at the mall, it's like, give me a break. That's the epitome of America right now.
In Japan, they have padded poles. Are we going to progress to this? The cutting edge of human evolution, we're going to progress to padded poles. So when
it's like a football, like the goalpost at a football game.
Don't ever try to ask your average Portlander for directions. It's just, you just be like, folks, this ain't the Bermuda Triangle, it's Portland. And it's got a left, north, up, right, Burnside divides north from south, Willamette River divides the east side from the west side. You can go 2766 Northeast MLK. That's where we are. You can find the people don't even know how to read addresses sometimes.
Yeah, and people, you know,
look, I'm getting worked up. This is just.
Yeah, if you think Portland is at all bad with street stuff, you look at, you know, New York and whatnot.
Okay, we've got a phone call. All right, let's go ahead and let the caller on. Then let's cover some other interest. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. This is what I want to say about the U.S. and China. This is what we need to know. Both of these superpowers are horrified and extremely frightened by the legitimate populist revolution in Egypt, which is happening right now.
They're afraid of our power.
Well, the Egyptians are showing it to us right now. This is a day to celebrate.
And this is genuine. It's organic. And there's reports that there may be provocateurs involved in this. But what I feel energetically is a real protest where they're going for the gold.
Absolutely. So, U.S. and China are both authoritarian regimes, you know, with slightly different modus operandi. Mm-hmm. But, you know, someday the Uyghurs in Western China will be free. The Tibetans will be free. The way is being shown to us right now by the Egyptians. This is the start.
We're going to keep.
Just hold on to that thought. The U.S. and China, as regards their worldviews, are both illegitimate. That's all we need to know.
And they're both oppressive to their own people. Thank you for your call.
All right.
We'll take some more phone calls tonight. We don't have that much time, but we'll keep going with the videos. Bill, let's go ahead and roll the next track. We'll go ahead and explain this. Okay, what we have here, this is David Rockefeller, confronted in Chile last week. The guy's 17. He's holding 17.
Yeah, I wish I ran.
Let's bring up the audio.
You're killing a lot of people. You're killing a lot of people. Leave here. Leave Chile right now. Leave Chile. Leave Chile. We don't want your world government. Leave Chile right now. Leave Chile, okay?
Hey, Bill, get ready to hit pause. I want to show the people. I want to show you. Wait. Just keep playing it. When the guy holds up his hand.
Leave here. Leave. You.
Now, can you do a still step pause? Or the way he puts up his hand, it was almost like he was projecting the energy back. A couple people watch this video. At the person, the way that he pointed his pinky at the. Go ahead and play the video.
You're a traitor to Chile, Mr. Agustino. You're a traitor to Chile, okay?
Yeah, his pinky is bent. That is kind of
what
weird.
You're doing right now, okay?
These aren't your average. These aren't your average original gangsters. These are OGs. Something going on there. Something going on. Okay.
Yeah, boy, if I had my chance to talk to David Rockefeller, I'd probably do a lot more than scream at him saying he's a murderer. I mean, that would certainly be in my realm of possibility. But yeah, to look at people like Rockefeller and not just be.
Oh, we'll cover this later. Okay, we were like, what? We'll get to that in a moment, folks. Get your dancing shoes on. Look, this is a great time to make a couple announcements. I want you guys to get your pen and paper out because we don't have a lot of time here on Outside the Box TV, but over at the PPC, the survival store that I'm working at, I have 3 events set up over the course, say, over the next 2 months. So that's the address there at the screen, but these are the dates. Bill, that date's wrong, so that's kind of an irrelevant one because we're past the 122nd. But this is one snapshot of what it looks like. And we specialize in food storage. We all know about food inflation. And the ultimate insurance is food, and food's something you can barter with, not just simply eat. And so what we're doing is we're going to have a wilderness survival class on the 3rd day of February. And it's very important if you want to see more classes that you come to this one coming up Thursday. And I got a guy driving down from, well, he lives in the Olympia, Washington area.
Okay.
So that's going to be February 3rd. This graphic's slightly different than what I'm discussing right now, but it simply has the address. It's going to be February 3rd for those riding at home right now. We don't have a graphic for this. And that's going to be at 7 o'clock on Thursday. So for those of you that watch the show Thursday, you could skip that one and maybe watch it later if you want to come on down. But for those watching right now live Sunday, that's when we're going to do the first one, February 3rd. The next event, okay, is going to be February 26th, one day after my 31st birthday. Bob Felix, for free, he's coming down also 2 hours north from Washington. It's amazing, all the amazing intellectual connections I have
for sure.
in Washington driving down, including my partners at the business. So he's going to be speaking about the magnetic field changes on Earth. And we know about magnetic north. It's moving in the direction of Russia. And then the airport down in Florida, they're having to recalibrate their landing strips as well as other airports. And so he's going to be speaking about this and why we may potentially be going into an ice age, not a warming age. Massive global climate change naturally caused based on this cycle that we're going through.
Sun cycles.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's February 26th. 2011, and that's a Saturday at 2 o'clock. Okay, the next event, we'll get back to the news. Thank you, Bill. The next event is going to be on March 12th. Okay, March 12th, 2011. John Kalis, who wrote a book about Portland wild edibles. It's not specifically Portland, but he's a Portland author. He wrote about wild edibles in our region. And so we have basically a specialist on this who's going to do a PowerPoint. And it'll be an opportunity for some of you to become his student. He takes people on walking tours around the Portland area in the Northwest. He even goes and takes people out to the coast, and they forage things like seaweed and make something out of that. Also, sword fern is a survival food. It was known as the survival food of the Indians, and he has a recipe on how to make molasses cookies. So, folks, you have a wilderness survival class at my store on February 3rd coming up, 2011. Please show up. It's only a couple, suggested donation for the cost of gas to get here. You've got February 26, 2011, Bob Felix speaking about Earth changes. And, of course, March 12, 2011, you have John Kalis talking about edible plants. And, I'm just looking forward to this year, all the positive stuff I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, definitely. Wild edibles is definitely a good thing. If you don't have a book on wild edibles of the Pacific Northwest, pick one up. There's some good ones out there.
It's all a matter of networking, and you've been networking with a couple people. You're going to be working with how many people on the show?
It's actually me and one other friend who are going to be producing, and then all the help we can get for the crew. There's a few people who are going to be involved.
Okay, I'm going to hold this up. Bill, can you go to camera 1? And when I went down to get coffee at the Gold Rush Cafe down the street, I just